Hello and welcome to Bags of Action. My name is Pete and this is a 5-minute Bags of Action review of Event Horizon from 1997. A rescue crew investigates a spaceship that disappeared into a black hole and has now returned, with someone or something new on board. This movie was directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. Prior to this, he'd done Mortal Kombat, and he went on to do the film Soldier and lots of Resident Evil films. It was written by Philip Eisner, who also wrote Mutant Chronicles and Firestarter 2. The cast was quite impressive then, with lots of up-and-comers, but if you look at it now, it's a really strong cast in retrospect. Laurence Fishburne, of course, from the Matrix and John Wick movies. Sam Neill, no introduction needed for him really, from Jurassic Park and lots of other movies. Kathleen Quinlan is in this. She's been on TV recently in Runaways, been in things like Prison Break, and also movies Breakdown and Apollo 13. Jolie Richardson, recently seen in things like Red Sparrow and Colour Out of Space, and The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Richard T. Jones, who was in loads of episodes of the TV show The Rookie, and was also in Hawaii Five-0 for a while, and in movies like Super 8 and Vantage Point as well. Jack Noseworthy, who went on to be in Idle Hands, Surrogates, and also Breakdown. And then two people that have really kind of continued to do more and more things over the years. Jason Isaacs, most recently I saw him, I think, in Star Trek Discovery, but he was also in all the Harry Potter movies and in Black Hawk Down. And Sean Pertwee, who had a long run on TV show Gotham and has also been in things like Soldier, Dog Soldiers, and The 51st State. Now, I first saw Event Horizon on VHS. I remember that very well. I'd been on a film course at Raindance in London and I was staying with a friend in the East End. We got this out from the local Blockbuster. Google that if you're of a certain age and you don't know what it is. And we were going to watch this with a pizza and some beers. And thinking about it, that's the perfect way to see this movie. With friends, when we can, with pizza, with a beer. It's that kind of movie. Now, I decided to rewatch this, almost ironically, after listening to the Ty and That Guy podcast, where they discussed Alien and then tangentially this movie. And yes, there are obvious comparisons to make between Event Horizon and Ridley Scott's Alien film. And it does take some big cues from that movie, I will admit, even down to some of the costume and production design and the mix of US and UK actors in the crew. Having said that, the ghost ship story idea is a familiar long-standing trope, but I guess putting them both into space makes that parallel more pronounced than, say, comparing it to Deep Rising or Virus. However, rewatching it now after so long, it actually struck me that the first 20 minutes or so are structured very similarly to Predator from like 10 years before this movie. You've got a well-established, tightly knit crew, and then Sam Neill's Dr. Weir arrives to work with them, and he's a bit like the Carl Weathers character in Predator. He's dropped into the team. He's our kind of the audience's POV, which means they can get lots of exposition in. He's dropped in and he gives them their so-called rescue mission. And there are lots of parallels with Alien. They're the obvious things. It is a team in space, some things on board a ship, but actually the Predator comparison I think is equally valid. Now, this film relies on a lot of jump scares, and that does date it a little, and they didn't hit me as hard because obviously I'd already seen it. But there are still some very powerful visual moments in this film that still had an impact on me all this time later. Now, the dialogue in this film is a little bit cheesy at times, but the cast are capable, and the likes of Quinlan, Neill, Fishburne and Isaacs in particular elevate some lines that would be a little bit cringeworthy in the mouths of lesser actors. The characters are a little bit thinly developed, but you do learn more about them as the tension mounts and their own fears start to take hold. It's still tense, and it does fill a gap in as a proper kind of sci-fi horror that isn't just part of an existing franchise like how the Aliens films or Predator films went. Now, I loved this film when it came out, and it made me very excited about the director's next film Soldier, which actually I found a bit disappointing. But overall, going back to this again, it has a solid story, it has interesting visuals and strong performances all round. There's some good action moments as well. It hasn't dated that well in some ways, but in others, mainly the practical effects and the sets, it really has. And again, it's good to see that kind of almost haunted house, kind of small set, small cast kind of thing paying off. Seeing it for the first time right now, you might spot too many well-worn tropes, but 24 years ago, some of them may not have actually been so overused, so it felt fresh. When I saw this, I absolutely loved it. Now, I guess I liked it. It's probably the best way to put it. So, let me think. I'm going to give Event Horizon 3 bags of action out of 5, which is probably one less than I'd have given it when it first came out, or maybe even 2 less, who knows. And at around 90 minutes, this is a perfect, slightly scary popcorn flick that won't take up too much of your time. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, I would suggest you do. And if you have seen it, do you agree with my assessment of it? Feel free to comment below or get in touch with us. You can do that on email, Facebook, or on Twitter. We have new episodes coming out every week, including our full-length podcast. And don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell for notifications so you never miss any action content. Bags of Action will always be free, but if you'd like to buy us a coffee, we're more than happy for you to do that at our Ko-fi page.